Punters and Dribblers, the podcast is brought to you by Bloke in a Bar, which is a beer. Bloke in a Bar beer.
Great jingle, mate. Terrific jingle.
Well, I tell you what it is. That's regional Australia television ad jingle quality.
Yep. We used to get plenty of them out in the bush, mate, and I loved every single one of them. And that's up to scratch.
Retrovision, the
That
biggest
is
retailer
up
of
to
electrical appliances. Not a Retrovision ad, just giving you an example of the sort of jingle you can expect.
Don't dilly-dally, get down to Auto Alley. We're going to make you smile.
Yeah.
You know
Gas Creamery, Kayama. Anyway, let's get
Punters
these.
and Dribblers, do you want some bloke? Here's where you get it. Kingswood Park Cellars, Ride Cellars, Harboard Beach Hotel, Harboard Hilton.
Love it.
Love it. IGA Tarrant Point, The Icon. It's on tap at The Icon. Fucking oath. Love that. Celebrations Kringilla? Do your own research. Digger's Bottle Shop. Celebrations Wadalba. Tom, okay. The Royal Hotel in Orange. Fucking great pub and casino liquor. That's where you get it. Otherwise, go to blokeinabar.com. Stock us list there. It's pretty simple. It's not rocket science.
No.
Get some bloke into your belly.
It's a whole lot of fun. Funland Ulladulla Indoor Park. All right, welcome back to the Hello Sport podcast. Home of unqualified opinion and unwavering bias. It's Freedom Day, baby. Monday, October 11. It's Freedom Day in New South Wales, I should say. And even then, I haven't really looked into what the freedom means in Freedom Day, but I know we're like fucking 70% vaccinated. Kick things off with a COVID chat. Edward, how are you? You feeling free?
I'm feeling free. I mean, it's not a COVID chat. It's a freedom chat, baby.
Yeah, it's true.
It's freedom chat. About freedom.
It's about freedom.
We're pro-freedom.
It's freedom.
We pro-freedom, Tom?
Huh?
I feel like a yank every time I say the word freedom.
Freedom, it's like
Don't you reckon?
it's like
They've
how the Southern
hijacked
Cross.
that word, bro.
It's like how the Southern Cross has become sort of semi-hijacked by sort of, or at least it seems racist now, like on a flag and shit. The Southern Cross tattoo et al. Freedom chat seems to be very yank now because they're just fucking hard for freedom. That's all. They're just so hard on freedom.
They scream two things: freedom and come on.
Yeah. Or
let's go. Let's go. Freedom and let's go.
We scream come on.
Fucking oath.
Come on for freedom.
Someone gave me a come on the beach on the weekend. It was nice. Yeah. He's like, come on. I'm like, fucking oath, cunt. It was a ripper day, so I felt like fucking sharing the come on as well.
Fucking oath you do.
Yeah, fucking oath.
But we come on for freedom.
Yeah.
Come on, Freedom Day. Sorry, Victoria.
For freedom.
Come on for freedom.
Freedom.
Freedom. I don't know exactly what it means. We can go to restaurants and shit.
I tell you what it means. It means we can fucking go to the pub. We can go to restaurants.
So pubs are open today.
We can go to the gym. We can get our hair cut. We can do all that shit. There's like rules around how many people can be in a venue. That changes again when we get to 80%, which is like in fucking 2 weeks' time. And then it changes again. Basically, as of December 1, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You don't even have to be vaccinated to go anywhere, all that shit.
Okay. And have you got a haircut lined up?
I haven't got one booked in, but I'm certainly thinking about it. Because my hair is long, punters and
You
dribblers.
like to keep a tight ship on the hair, don't you?
I don't like it being this long.
No.
Although I have got past what I would consider to be like I feel like I'm getting past the scat.
Yeah. Can you take your hat off and let me see? Obviously, this is pushing audiences to YouTube to see Eddie's hair.
Yeah.
I don't mind it a bit long. Are you just going to go back again for your real meat and potatoes, short back and sides, full metal jacket, or are you going to go for a bit something cool now that you're just a fucking...
What would you go for?
With you?
Yeah.
I'd like to
How would you call it up?
I'd honestly, I know that, like, because you have curly, like, you've got curly hair that is...
Curly disposition?
Well, yes, but it does its own thing because like, you could have, like, floppy curly hair, but you've got quite tight afro-ish curly hair.
Correct.
That I wouldn't mind just seeing a bit of a tightening on the sides and just going a bit mullet vibes. Remember when Kanye had a mullet, but it was longer?
Do you want me to mull it out?
Yeah.
I can do that for you.
I think you should.
What do you reckon, Dave? Should I mull it out?
I'm always a fan of the mullet.
Yeah, you would be.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't be going like...
Well, just leave it at the back.
Billy Ray Cyrus mullet. You'd be just going in a little bit on the sides.
Yep.
And then just maybe a 15th off the back.
Okay.
Let me see you. Because I am obviously a qualified hairdresser.
So just bang this.
I reckon you just bang it off. If you go, just go, listen, first things first, because sometimes I do this when I'm at a hairdresser, although I've become much more reliant on my own capabilities. I just go, I'll let him do it in stages because I might want a mullet. So I'll go, all right, bang some off the sides for me. All right. Now we need to bang a little bit off the top and the back. And I'm almost telling him how to cut hair. And then he's probably not enjoying that too much. But I'm like, rather than just going, do this, then they do it and they fuck it.
But you've got the hairdresser eye. I don't.
I don't know
how confident I would be there to be fucking working him through this thing. I want to be able to sit down and with some degree of confidence. Well, I've got an out. I've got outs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Is there points where you can pull the ripcord, you mean?
Well, I mean, if he fucks the mullet...
You just go back to normal hair.
I can go back to normal hair, and if that's too far gone, I'll just shave it. I don't really care.
No.
Doesn't
I'm thinking
bother
of
me.
going to shave at some point as well for
You know
summer.
what? Can I be honest with you? December hits, I'm shaving it all off.
Let's do it.
I'm going bald as a cucumber for the fucking
As in
summer.
bald or shaved?
No, like number 2.
Okay, do you want to go? Let's go December number 2s.
I'm going number 2 in December.
Oh, I'm with you.
Fucking oath.
Because I was just going to do that anyway, but I like the idea of going, all right, summer.
Yeah.
Hot boy
December,
summer.
hot boy summer.
Hot pod summer.
I'm gonna be fucking brown as a berry, and I'm gonna be my head shaved. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be ripping and tearing all fucking summer long. I can promise you that.
Well, then I
Really.
think you owe it to yourself to just get a little bit of a mullet going
Yeah, sure. I can do that.
pre-December.
I can do that. I can do that. When am I going to do it? I might do it tomorrow.
I'd encourage you
I
to.
might do it tomorrow, punters and dribblers.
This will be the most talked about haircut since Jennifer Aniston on Friends.
Yeah. Well, sure. Don't watch much Friends, but
You don't remember the whole...
I'm not a Friends guy.
It's
I'm
not about
Seinfeld
being
guy.
a Friends guy.
But I don't watch it.
But I don't watch it either.
So how do you know?
Did you not watch it back in the day?
Not really.
Really?
Like dribs and drabs.
It was like her hair on that thing, and maybe this is saying more about me, Punisher, because I am obviously the Neo of cutting hair. But when her, every chick...
Why Neo?
Because he could see when he sees the way he operates in the world, like he's on a higher plane.
Sure. Okay.
Neo from
Yeah, the Matrix.
The Matrix. Yeah,
I know.
that's what fucking. What do you mean? Why Neo?
Well, I was just like,
he's
what-
the one. That's why.
Sure.
Anyway,
Please go on.
because you'll want to hear this. Jennifer Aniston's hair cut at some point during the Friends run, like one of her hairstyles was internationally, that was what every single chick on the planet wanted. Dave, please tell me you're Googling this.
Yeah, it was a bob haircut, pretty much. That's what it says here.
Which doesn't do it justice in terms of how I would imagine it, because
Do
a
you want me to
bob
get a
to
photo
me.
up?
Well, yeah, drag one across for Eddie if you want.
I know what a bob is.
Yeah, but that's exactly my point. That's not what it is to me in my head. As Neo.
Sure. Can I tell you a word that sort of annoys me? Mm-hmm. Bangs.
Yep.
Don't know why. Couldn't tell you why it annoys me, but it does.
I get it. It's almost too emotive for what it is.
Yes, it's okay, what the
There
fucking...
you go. That's the gen. That one took the world by storm.
Yeah.
My mum had it. I don't know if my sister did. She might have been too young, but fucking everyone was going
Is
for
that
it.
early 2000s or late 90s?
I'd say late 90s, but I don't know, Eddie. I just don't know.
Because there is a bit of crossover between late 90s, early 2000s. There is-
Fashion and sort of...
Yes.
Yeah, definitely there is.
You can get caught sometimes.
But I like that haircut.
I think it's pretty hot.
See, what's funny is I'm sure there were other people that had that haircut, but just having your hair be trending internationally would be such a weird vibe.
It
Or
would
imagine if you were the one who gave her that and then you're like, oh, I came up with the fucking Jen Aniston trim. As a Neo of hairdressing, that'd be a dream come true for me.
Yeah. Do you remember the Beckham? The mohawk?
Yes. Yeah.
And
but the Beckham...
all the kids got it?
The Beckham was also it was a mohawk, but then it was also just the fucking... It was normal hair, but squeezed into a mohawk sort of thing. So it
Yes.
wasn't a...
No.
It wasn't a mohawk's mohawk. It was just pushing it all into the middle like a ramp.
Yeah, it was.
And then up at the front, do you remember doing that when you were a kid? Gelling the front of your hair up?
Fucking oath I do. Black and gold.
Yeah. It was like a little veranda.
Black and
popping out
gold
the
hair
front of your
gel.
head.
What's his name from the In-Betweeners who had the hair gelled up at the front?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
A show I have not watched much of, but I have seen it.
It's
I know who
fucking
you're talking. No,
funny.
I know it's funny. I've seen enough of it to know it's good.
The black and gold hair gel I used to use was so fucking... it was so effective that you could almost basically snap my hair.
So hold on. Yeah, so not that mohawk though, Dave. I'd say that second level, go all the way to the left.
No, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, but that was... Not everyone had a fucking mohawk. Everyone had this haircut. Go to that.
I
that...
know this one.
Mate, everyone...
Yeah, maybe it's more like that.
Mate, everyone rocked that mo.
Yeah, but you had
As
a mohawk?
kids-
You had a full-blown mohawk as a kid? Like that. That's more what I'm talking about. Go back to that one, Dave.
That it's not as pronounced as that.
No, it's this one where it's like all pushed up in the middle.
Yeah. But without the peroxide. I never went with the peroxide.
No, I didn't.
Did you?
No, I didn't have peroxide. Sebo had peroxide. Sebo's dad is a legit hairdresser. Shout out to Lefteri. And that's where I used to get my hair gel and my haircut. But Sebo, I remember he just came to school one day with fucking serious frosted tips. Sebo, for those of you unaware about even producer / member, team member, he is as his hair has deserted him since, but he used to have a fucking full blown head of hair, and he used to get
come and gone. Tom.
It's come and gone.
There's a couple of photos of Seb back in the fun boy era that he's got a head of hair that at the time you thought won't quit.
Will not quit. Dude, you look at
But
those.
did quit,
You
which
look at
is
some
funny.
fun boy era Seb photos.
Yes.
You're like, this dude is a fucking skinny, hot, great guy.
No. Well, there's one word that comes to mind: Lothario.
Lothario.
He looks
that is
like
the
he
word.
shagged all the women in the world
Yes.
in these photos.
Yes.
Not to say that he,
Not to say, well, look, I mean, he's
look,
happily loved up now,
he is.
and not to say that he couldn't, but it's certainly early 20s.
you don't look at him.
Lothario.
You don't look at him now and say he doesn't scream Lothario anymore.
No.
And that's no
None
offense.
of us do. But I mean, I never scream Lothario, so
No,
at least
no,
he can
we
be
never
happy.
do, exactly.
He can be happy that at one point in his life he was a
Yes.
Lothario.
I've never screamed Lothario. You've never screamed Lothario. He's screamed Lothario.
Yeah.
At the top of his lungs.
Yeah.
And the women took note.
Yeah. He's lost it though, but it's gone.
It's come and gone. He's now a hot, sweaty Greek man who lays in a bar.
He's in a bar. About even as well on podcast, taking the charts by storm. Just so you know, if you don't know about even, it's our betting show. It would surprise if you don't, but you can find it on all podcast apps, and it's also on our YouTube. Edward, it's Freedom Day. That's freedom. There's not much else to really talk about, I guess. I'm still not going to a pub. I'm pushing for 3 months without booze, so that'll be November.
You can't
for me.
though, because you're in a. Are you pushing for 3 months, or are you just being a responsible soon to be father?
No. Well, certainly like soon to be father.
Surely that's playing more of a role than.
Well, it's both. Like, I wouldn't be drinking anyway because I'm pushing, but I also can't be going to pubs and shit now because I have to get tested every 3 days because baby number 2, the second in line to the throne, is any day sort of a prospect. Next 10 days is sort of when we're expecting, which is such a mind fuck, dude. I can't tell you. It's a mind fuck that there's another child coming on, and when you see it in her tummy and you're like, how's this work? How's she growing a human? None of it makes sense.
No.
Even though you're told that's how babies are made and that's what's happening, the actual logistics of it, like you look at a building, Empire State, and like someone can reverse engineer, like if I'm smart enough to comprehend how it's done, there's no way anyone can get your head around a child growing inside of your missus or anyone for that matter.
No, it's one of life's great mysteries.
Isn't it? Even though it can be explained, it still doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Not to the layman, Tom.
No, but also just like, everyone gets it. Well, you don't though. You get it until you really see it, and then you're like, holy fuck, this is bonkers.
So 10 days.
10 days-ish, yeah.
How's the body weight?
Me, I have plateaued.
Have you got to the 10?
Yeah, I've got to the 10, but then I've gone back up. So I've gone.
Ooh, so.
But as in like, oh no, I'll make it easy. Like I was 93 on Sunday. And then
What
now
are you now?
I'm 94, 95. So
What do you got to be?
94.
Okay.
So I'm just going like, like a lot of it's like water weight and shit. Mate, worst comes to worst, if you tell me on weigh-in day, I'm just going to wrap myself in foil if I'm not at 94. Because it's only
Is there a weigh-in day, like on the scales, really official stuff?
yeah, well, like we'll do something. We haven't so he said the 21st because that's the baby's due date. So it'll be in and around on the 21st, depending on how this fucking baby goes. We'll have a proper weigh-in. But I'll make it fine. Like there's no issues there around making it. But in terms of the like losing shitloads of weight at one time, that's plateaued a little bit. But I just need to be 94.
Has the diet loosened? Or
No,
is it
not
just harder
really.
to lose as you get down?
It's harder to lose when you get down. The diet isn't as tight, but it's still pretty tight. It's just you do plateau with these things. Like it's just a part of the situation. But also I think as well, like once you lose weight, I'm also now trying to build more muscle because...
You want to be a tough cunt.
Well, I want to be a tough cunt. But also I'm just sort of like still a flabby mess here. So like you want to tone. Like my arms are slowly, and I mean slowly, but they're coming back.
Oh, they're coming back.
They're coming back a little bit. Like I'm wearing a singlet around the house again. So it's like, ooh.
Oh, she's noticing.
Yeah, but not noticing like the inference of
When you
arms.
say coming back, like, do you consider yourself to be like, at one point in time, the owner of pipes?
Pipes, but only pipes in the sense, not pipes where you look at him and be like, oh, that guy's got pipes. Not like that. Not pipes of consequence. You know what I mean?
Not pipes of substance.
No, of substance. But more just pipes where you'd go like, they're not. You can see some tries and buys, dude. That's all you need.
Tries and buys.
Tries and buys. Like I've never had like a bulging vein in my arm.
Sure.
I'd like one, but you certainly have been able to see like a vein there at some point. Or like if my arms are just hanging, tries are seen.
Yeah.
Now it's not. If my arms just hang beside, there's no fucking vision of tries. There's a hint now. There's an echo of tries.
Echo, okay. Did you say that when you, like, was that on your wish list, veins popping?
No, fuck no, dude. I'm 32. Veins popping at 32. I'm probably going to have to take some fucking...
No, I don't think so.
No.
It's got to hit the fucking...
It's honestly, it was more just about losing weight, and then now I'll try and tone it up. But I've got to just make sure that I'm 94 or under for weigh-in day so that I don't get a tattoo of the Olympic rings, which would be tough.
Would you go through with it?
Well, yeah, I feel like you'd be a fucking coward if you didn't.
Will you get another tat?
Well, if I get the Olympic rings, I will. I'm not against getting another tattoo. Like, I don't really give a fuck. It's just more like there's nothing screaming out at me. I'm not just going to walk into a store and go, give me that. I mean, would I get, like, you know, a heap and then have, like, podcast written on the heap and then you and I sitting on top of the podcast heap?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd think about it.
You'd think about that?
Yeah, sure. I'm not ruling it out. Or if Manly win the comp, do I get a Manly Seagulls tattoo or do I just get Manly 13
Manly
plus?
22.
Manly 13 plus.
Love
That'd
that.
be so fucked. Steph would be like, you got a gambling, you got fucking punting.
Manly 30. Well, no, it's not punting. It's just
the points that we think they're going to win by.
Yeah, well, but a minimum of.
A minimum. The fight was obviously yesterday, and we will get to it shortly. But I was very concerned yesterday because, you know, obviously Steffi about to pop any moment, and she's at this stage in pregnancy. She's very tired, and like, you know, she's got about 15 good minutes of energy in her a day, and that's with the greatest respect. She's like fucking, you know, it's tough. It's a tough slog. But I had to watch this fucking fight. So I'm like, what the fuck? And Evie, she's like 1.5, bit over, and she's still got heaps of teeth coming through. And when they're coming through, it can send them loopy. Like, she's pissed off. She can't vocalize what's making her angry. So she's just like a mad child, like just won't stop running around. Sometimes she's crying, sometimes she's happy, and you're just like trying to wrangle this fucking toddler. And I'm like, I need to at least have fucking an hour uninterrupted where I don't need to worry about either of them to watch this fight. And then Evie's just in this mood. Steph was cool. Steph's like, yeah, of course you can watch it. But Evie's a fucking psycho. And I know that if Evie's at like warp speed, I have to take control because Steph just doesn't have the energy to do it. So I'm trying to like get Evie to chill out and calm down. I'm like, let's watch fucking, it's called Tangled, I think. It's about Rapunzel. Rapunzel being the long-haired.
Yes.
Anyway, we watch Rapunzel.
So what, tangled in hair?
I guess so. And me tangled with a toddler. Anyway, look, as it all worked out, I got to watch the fight and Evie watched Rapunzel, but then Evie's grandma, my mother-in-law, alerted us to the fact that we might be giving Evie nightmares because at 1.5, she's probably not developmentally at the right point to be watching movies like that. Like, she watched it, but then she gets scared when sometimes when just the music gets a bit intense. And I'm like, it's all good, relax. But then she's been sleeping kind of bad since we've been making her watch it, like this sort of stuff. And yeah, and Marina was just like, yeah, maybe like this is too hectic for a fucking 1.5-year-old to like see villains and ghoulish fucking people. And I was like, I didn't think of it at all in the moment when it was just me and Evie. She's like scared of like some man who's got like a really expressive face and he's like doing weird shit. And I'm like, it's all good. Calm down. Now I'm like,
it's a movie, bro.
Now I'm like, fuck. No wonder she's waking up like at fucking 9 o'clock at night after you put her to bed and she's like, just completely freaked out. I'm like, she's seeing ghouls and like scary Etch Hans Zimmer music.
What have you done, mate?
I don't know. Back to the Wiggles, though.
Back to the Wiggles.
Because she sometimes will.
Why did you transition away?
Because I'm fucking off the Wiggles, dude. I'm off them.
What about Postman Pat and shit?
I could have. Honestly, I could have. It's a mistake on our part. I could have. And I feel a little bit bad now as well because sometimes like, do you want to watch something? She'll say Wiggles. I'm like, nah, fuck it. Let's watch Rapunzel. Like, it's a bit more of a storyline to it. And now I'm like.
Was that you wanting to watch Rapunzel?
Well, no, like Steffi said, put like this was, she started watching one of them that she enjoyed. And I was like, I wanted something where she was going to calm the fuck down. But then I feel bad because she's like asking for the Wiggles, which is a bit more like ABC, blue dog, yellow cat, fucking rudimentary shit. And I'm there trying to, get her across some Etch storylines where like some guy got stabbed in Rapunzel. I was like, oh, this is a bit hectic.
Oh my God. Can she sit down for an hour? Did you get a clean hour of fighting?
I didn't get a clean hour of fighting, no. She was there with Steffi, like they were sort of playing some games and shit, and then I had to at one point I had to sort of pick her up and stand at the door to the room where I'm watching the TV. I'm holding her and Steph's laying down and I'm like just making sure that everything's all good. And it was when the whips were cracking in this fight as well. I'm like, fuck me, dude. I just need to fucking...
Mate, the whips were cracking from the air.
The podcast this week is brought to you, punters and dribblers, by our good friends at pilot.com.au. Pilot is the men's health toolkit, providing tools for Aussie men to take care of their health, and it's trusted by over 100,000 of them.
100,000.
100,000 Aussie punters and dribblers. Now, it's holistic healthcare, treating erectile dysfunction, premature ejac, Eddie. We don't want that. Weight issues, sleep's very important, and plenty more.
You're dead right, Tom. Now, listen. The way this works is you go to pilot.com.au, okay, and you answer a few questions, and then you're sort of linked up with a top Aussie doctor, a specialist, Tom.
Top doc.
At their craft. You're getting put with a top doc, okay? Now, what's better than that is that if you use the code DRIBBLERS, that consultation is free. It's on Tom and I, because we're generous, and we look after the punter, and we look after the dribbler.
That's right. Treatment is delivered discreetly to your door, so no one needs to know that you're primo ejac, which in this day and age is a benefit. You visit pilot.com.au/Hello Sport, promo code DRIBBLERS to start your treatment.
That's it. Pilot, the men's health toolkit, punters and dribblers.
Eddie, the podcast this week is brought to you by our good friends at Dr. V, the home of the natural energy drink. And when I say natural, you say natural, the people say natural. Some might go, what do you mean by natural? I go, well, natural ingredients sourced from natural places.
Like nature. Wrap your head around that.
Yep.
Natural things coming from natural places in nature. That's what Dr. V delivers. And they're the only ones
really do it.
like properly that do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going out there on their hands and knees, scraping up Siberian needles.
Pine needles. Not just needles.
Pine needles, of course, Tom.
Not sharps. Not from the sharps bin.
No. Dr. V wouldn't do that.
No. Well, it makes no sense.
No, it makes no sense.
There's no
Pine
nutritional
needle,
value in the sharps bin. Pine needle extract, berries, sea buckthorn berries to be specific.
From the Tomsk in Siberia.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they're prepared to do for you and I, the punter and the dribbler.
Yeah. And you know what else they're prepared to do? If you were to go to drv.com.au and you were to put in the promo code DRIBBLERS,
Tell me more.
you're going to get 25% off. That's a discount, Eddie.
You're kidding.
Off of your entire order.
Entire store. Entire order.
Everything. And they got 4 drinks in their range. Bender Bender, Siberian Rush, Brainstorm, Karma Karma.
Bang. drv.com.au, code dribblers. Get after it. Make smart decisions.
Everyone kind of thought as well with this fight, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, if you're living under a rock, metaphorical or otherwise. Everyone was like, fuck. Do we really want to see a third fight with these two?
You know what's funny about that? Is that like, I was annoyed they were fighting again, but I was annoyed they were fighting again because it prevented him from fighting Anthony Joshua, which we all wanted to see. Now, as it's fucking turned out, he lost to Usyk the other day.
I think it's Usyk. Usyk, yeah.
Usyk. Anyway, we can get to that the other day, but when I reflect on their first two fights, Wilder and Fury, I'm like, they were fucking unbelievable. So the fact that people were saying they didn't want to see a third from a boxing perspective is sheer madness.
No, it was more because the first one was a draw, which was a robbery, and then the second one was a fucking mauling. But with this third one,
it was still good fun.
Yeah, it was still good fun,
fight.
but he beat the fuck out of him. Like, it wasn't competitive. Apparently, he only threw. It couldn't be right. Like, I couldn't be correct in this one, but it was like he only threw like 30 fucking punches in the second fight.
30 punt? Nah.
Yeah, I know, right? Maybe it landed 30. I don't know.
Maybe landed.
But it was like something really low.
He got fucking pieced up.
He got fucked up.
He looked a shitload better in this fight. He's a tough motherfucker.
They both put on.
Wilder.
It was the heaviest heavyweight title fight in history.
Mate, fucking Fury weighed in at like 125.
Yeah. So and what? So he was 277 pounds. Obviously, I don't get pounds. No one does. But apparently heavyweights, because he was talking about after the fight, like talking back to like, they were asking him where he thinks he ranks. He was like, I can't fight fighters from the past, so I wouldn't want to disrespect them. Even the ones when heavyweights used to be 180 pounds, which is like a middleweight in the UFC, or a welterweight. No, 170 is welterweight.
180 pounds.
Yeah.
What? When?
Back
Way
in
back
the day.
in the day.
Yeah, back in the day.
Like
1920s probably.
Like, yeah, 1800s and shit.
Don't know. But
Well, because they were showing like lineal British champions, and one of them was from like 1897 and shit.
So the
He didn't
lineal.
look like
So
a big guy.
how does the lineal work? Because because I know there's multiple belts, right? Which is a shit show in boxing. But lineal meaning that it's like all the way back. You can trace this champion. Is that sort of how it is? Like,
Dave, I've looked up lineal before, and it hasn't stuck with me.
yeah, right.
Put it that
Dave,
way.
look up how the explanation for lineal heavyweight champions, like how it works.
lineal champion
in
general.
general.
So, yeah, it says the word lineal means of involving or derived from direct descent.
Yeah.
So lineal champions are descended from the boxer who won the initial box off, which started a lineage or title.
So I guess maybe before maybe the different organizations came in. So like if you're the champion from if you're the heavyweight champion from 1950, say, when there's only one boxing organization.
Yeah, but he's the lineal champion in this era.
Right. So what I'm saying is lineal meaning
Yeah, no, so lineal...
you are beating the guy who beat 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 the guy, like all the way back?
No, because that's just like the title. But lineal is basically if you beat the guy who like first held it, essentially. So
No, because you can't be a lineal champion. If the guy who first fucking held it was from 1950, how the fuck does Tyson Fury beat that? It has to be if... At some point, there must have been like one predominant, if not one sole boxing championship, right? Like the heavyweight title.
So the lineal champion is the
Goes
direct
all the way back.
descendant of that.
That's what I'm saying. So you beat the guy who beat the guy who beat the guy who beat the guy all the way back to that championship. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
yeah.
get you.
Yeah,
But I'm just
yeah,
trying to
that's
work
what-
out what the difference between that is and like, is it because belts are vacated because they don't fight and shit like that?
Yeah, probably. There's probably something to do with that as well. But also, like,
Yeah, okay.
you can be the heavyweight champion of the IBF, and you're not the heavyweight champion of the WBO.
Yeah, I understand.
Right. So.
But I'm saying like, Dave, you say what you're going to say, and then I'll
It's-
come over the top.
It says here, so in professional boxing, a break in the direct continuity of a lineal championship can occur when a reigning champion retires or moves to another weight class. So essentially, it stops being lineal if someone's like, oh, I'm not fighting for this belt anymore.
Yes.
But someone else is going to win it in a different fight, but I'm just giving it up. I'm not losing this belt.
Yes.
But yeah.
So that's it. So then that's crazy. Then the lineal championship still exists for heavyweights, because you actually don't hear it talked about all that often in terms of like other divisions. I'm sure there exists in some, but like the fact that the lineal heavyweight champion still exists is pretty dope.
Yeah, that is sick.
But it also says here, I don't know if this like means what I think it means, but it says, lineal championship is a world championship initially held by an undisputed champion and then subsequently by a fighter who defeats the reigning champion. So I think if you become undisputed, in whatever, then it maybe starts again as a lineal championship.
Okay.
Which could make sense as why they're still going.
So maybe that's odd. Maybe that's because Klitschko held them all, didn't he?
Right.
Because Tyson,
that would make
more
sense.
sense.
Because otherwise, that
Yeah.
seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says here, so...
Right, yeah,
Klitschko held them all, I
Yeah,
think.
he did.
yeah, it says opinions
That's how.
conflict.
And he beat him.
Yeah.
Opinions conflict as to what to do when such a breach of continuity occurs, like someone retiring. Some require that top contenders for the title must fight to become the next lineal championship, while others require a new undisputed champion before the lineage can continue. However, there's no single canonical list of lineal champions.
Okay.
Did Fury win all the belts, though, off Klitschko and then give up some of them when he went through that fucking... his time off?
Well, I think Fury beat Klitschko first, didn't he? And then AJ beat him. So I think Fury beat him, won them all. Then you sometimes like different bodies will be like, if you don't defend our belt, you'll be stripped of it.
Which he didn't,
Yeah.
because he went and fucking...
Wigged out. So that might have been it. And then AJ got him. I think. Anyway, we'll work that shit out. But the fight itself was fucking crazy. Like, when you talk about money's worth, like $60 or whatever that thing costs, like that's like why you want to be paying.
What would you pay for that? Put it that way.
Exactly. Like, I'd pay fucking $500. If you were going, like, if you think about it, what that fight was, like $500 to watch it, I'm like, that was fucking engrossing.
It's a lot of money, but like, if you've got it fucking...
Well, obviously, like,
What I'm saying is, it was worth every fucking penny of $60 and then some, and
Yes.
then some, and then some.
Comfortably.
You
And
can
it was-
settle on a number that you can afford, but it was
Of course you can.
it was one
$1
of the
million bucks.
Yeah, it was as entertaining a fight as I've probably ever watched.
That's it, right? That's what's crazy is you're going like, dude, is this like the greatest fight I've ever seen? Because it's kind of, sometimes I was feeling that and thinking as I'm watching it, but I'm like, am I just being a hyperbolic, swept up in the moment dead shit? And I'm like, no, dude, these motherfuckers are beating the absolute hell out of each other.
Mate, Fury drops him in the third, and it looks like it's all over.
We were messaging
And
that we're going, oh, here we go.
And then he drops him twice in the fourth. I'm like, what is going on? It was so sick.
Yeah.
And then slowly over the next couple of rounds, fucking Fury just gets to work on
Yeah,
it.
accumulating damage as I predicted in about even.
After you stole the bet. It was just so much fucking fun to watch.
Yeah.
God, it was good. But that Wilder's a fucking tough motherfucker. Like,
Dude.
at the end of the fight, at the end of like, what, round 9, 10, 11, he was literally out on his feet, just copying such brutal punishment and just
Such
staying there.
punishment.
I'm like, you are a sicko.
Yeah, it's like there was, so his record is insane. Firstly, he's had 42 wins, 41 by knockout. Like, what? 42 wins, 41 by knockout. 2 losses now and a draw, all to fucking Fury. His last 13 fights have been title fights. And they were like, if he loses this one, this will fucking really damage his legacy, which I think was a fair comment potentially beforehand. But then when you see the performance he put in there, you're like, oh, no, it doesn't. He's a tough motherfucker. And like
Well, it damages his legacy from the perspective of he is now second
to Fury.
To Fury.
Fury's the greatest of his generation. And you're like, and I heard someone, it might have been Max Kellerman saying it after the fight, but it was like, you get the sense that Deontay Wilder beats every single person tonight that wasn't called Tyson Fury. Like, he was absolutely there and he was absolutely great. It's just that Tyson Fury is the number one motherfucker. And then you've got, you've got Anthony Joshua now who's lost twice to just fucking...
Nobody's real. Well, Usyk's apparently all right, but he lost to that fucking Donut King, the Mexican.
Yeah.
Joshua, at least from shit I've read, has been protected to a degree by his manager and shit, and they've like sort of cherry-picked his fights a little bit.
That's apparently what they do in boxing up until the point when you're ready to fight for titles is like the first...
But he's won titles.
Well, no, I know, but so like...
And he's avoided Wilder, he's avoided Fury.
Yes, but he fought Klitschko.
The 2 guys that they know would fucking kill him. And Klitschko's like, what, 45?
Yes.
50?
It's
Not the
interesting.
point.
No.
What I am saying is that Fury would beat the living piss out of Anthony Joshua.
Yes,
I think
and
we
you
can
wonder
all
whether
agree
it'll
on
ever
that.
happen. Like, it doesn't really matter now, but like he's got a rematch with.
Well, they won. He's got a rematch.
You got to. Well, fuck. They of course
they
he
always
does.
put
They
him
put
in.
a clause in there.
Yeah.
So he's got the.
Well, if he
immediate
can win him
rematch,
back,
then
then you can fight Fury to unify.
yeah,
If you lose, I reckon
Fury-
Fury fights Usyk, and then Wilder should fight
Joshua or Donut King. What's his name again?
the Mexican guy.
Yeah.
What about him?
Because he's still in and around. I'd like to see him fight again. Now he's just like a funny character in and amongst the scene, but it's kind of like
Ruiz.
Andy Ruiz.
yeah.
That's it. So you've got Fury, Joshua, Wilder, Ruiz, Usyk, all those motherfuckers, and then Tyson Fury probably just chills for a minute.
Tell you what's good. It's good to see. It's been back for a couple of years, but it's good to see the fucking heavyweight division just
popping.
being the fucking creme de la creme again.
Yeah.
It's 6'9" versus 6'7"
Yeah.
with the heights yesterday.
Yeah,
that
ridiculous.
is fucking ridiculous.
That is serious heavyweights.
They are big boys.
6'9".
125, 6'9". Fury just leaning on him.
Dude, it was funny trying to explain to Steph. Steph's like, that guy's good? Like, you see Deontay Wilder, who is this absolute fucking specimen of what human beings can be physically. And then you've got Fury, who's just this flabby fucking shit heap. Couldn't look less like an athlete. You know what I mean? Like, his legs are all weird and like bowed out. And he's fucking...
His legs are tiny.
But they also like bow in, you know, like when you see those people, and they like their knees go in and then out again. Like,
Ella's like, it doesn't look like his legs can hold him up.
no, he's just a big flabby monster.
But I go, watch him start moving. And she
Yeah.
was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I was like, he's the undefeated one. She was just like, holy shit.
But when you start seeing it, when you see him move, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
And this is going to make me sound like a complete fuckwit here. But obviously, those of you that know, I have been doing a bit of boxing training. Literally for like 2 seconds the other day when we were doing it, Josh of Bronte's Blueies on Instagram, go check him out. If you want to get trained by him, you live in Sydney, DM him. But he was hanging on me. So like he was clinching me and then going like, and then as we were breaking, I was meant to throw punches. And it was honestly for like less than 3 seconds that he would hang on me. And I was just like, holy shit, dude, in a real
Is it
fight,
draining?
if someone was doing this to me, it would fucking, I was like almost panicking thinking about what it would be like.
What, tiring?
Tiring as fuck, dude. Just trying to like, you're already tired, then he's just holding onto you and hanging onto you, and then you've got to like break off and try.
Well, that's
and
what he
punch.
did in the first fight, which is why Wilder came in a bit heavier.
Yeah.
But fucking Fury came in
Came in
heavier
even
again.
heavier than that.
And just leant on him constantly.
Yeah. Like, and I'm being serious. He was on me. Josh was on me for like 3 seconds, and I'm like, this would fucking kill you, dude. And he's not even punching me.
Imagine doing it for 11 rounds.
Exactly.
Like, it is such a long time.
Yeah. And
12 3-minute rounds.
And by the end of it, when you're hearing, because I went back and I watched the final few rounds again last night in bed, because that's what I like to do when I'm trying to calm the mind before sleep.
Just put on three fucking
rounds of
beer.
violence. And just hearing the sounds of these fucking monsters like on each other, and just like the sound of just the thuds of them hitting each other, like they're hitting flesh, and they're like, like this grunting. You're like, this is so fucking primal and aggressive, and
that's
like
primal.
and intense. Like to be getting fucking thudded that hard by these
Watching
like,
it
these
is
monsters.
Watching it is primal
Yes,
as well.
yes.
I squeal and shit.
I know, same. Steph was watching me. I was like,
mate, Ella's sister came upstairs and she was like, with her friend being like, we thought like someone was being killed. And I'm like, yeah, well, there's a fucking one of the great fights all time on.
going
So, like,
that is what's happening.
you
That is,
know?
I can't help it.
What do you want me to do?
Steph was like, dude, and it was even funny when we've put up videos in the past of us watching UFC fights and shit.
I can't help it. I honestly can't
but
help
I'm sitting there. Steph's like, dude, you're trying to evade punches on the couch.
it. Oh,
Like,
you're a big evader. I don't evade.
I can't help it. I can't help it. And that's not, oh, you do a bit of boxing training, do you? This is before I've ever thrown a punch.
yeah.
I'm sitting there going like, and Steph's laughing, and I think she's laughing at like a message or Evie or something. I look it up and she's looking at me. I'm like, what? She's like, you're like ducking and weaving punches. I'm like, am I? I can't help it, dude. I'm like, But it is primal. And I think we said this as well last night, Eddie. And it's been locked down, so that's just the way it is. But I don't see myself many more times ever watching fights, especially of that magnitude, without at least you or Jarch or Streety around. We're like a little foursome. We like to watch Biffs together.
We love watching Biffs together, and we sit there and we fucking regurgitate information we've read.
Yeah.
Pass it off as our own.
Yeah.
And it's just good fun. It's good company.
And we scream and we yahoo. And then when something crazy happens, we're basically all just like jumping on top of each other. We can't help it.
It's good for the fucking soul.
Yeah.
Watching fights on a Sunday with your mates is good for the soul. I love our time zone for fights.
It works
so
perfectly.
good. I reckon it's better than Saturday night. Sunday
100%.
lunchtime, Sunday afternoon is so fucking good for watching fights,
Yep.
dude. I love it.
It's perfect.
I love it. You can get pissed. You can fucking knock off at 6. You're fine the next day. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
It's easy peasy.
Lemon
squeezy. Thank you, Tom. I fucking absolutely adore it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I would say this, punters and dribblers as well. I was talking with Tom yesterday. We've made a decision. Obviously, we're top of the heap, but like, this is just how I'm going to live my life now. Once you start buying fights instead of looking for streams, you'll never go back.
Yeah.
It's so much fucking better. Like I can leave the room.
Yes.
Yesterday I was coming and going, not worried.
Because you just know it's there.
Because you know
on,
it's there.
It's good to go.
It won't break. It's fucking ready to rip and tear. Like,
well, look, we're not encouraging the illegal downloading of fights.
no. I'm just being honest with the punter.
Being realistic. We know people stream.
Guess who fucking streams the most out of any country in the world? Yeah, we're living here. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like, yeah. So,
That's so funny.
I don't think it's a fucking. That's not shocking news to people. But.
We can pass it off as a genuine business expense now. We were laughing about that because that's a nice little touch.
But I would like, and this isn't an ad. No. Although they are a dear friend and a dear sponsor. Shout out to KO for fucking sorting out that absolute shit show mess that we've had to endure for many years of not being able to get main event boxing fights online.
Without a set-top box, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I haven't had a set-top box for 5 years, but you can't watch a fight unless you got a set-top box. It's now on KO. It's a fucking game changer.
Dude, that's the main reason why people are streaming. It's like, well, sorry, dude, I don't have a set-top box and I really want to watch the fight.
I don't know anyone that has a set-top box anymore.
No.
I don't know a single person.
No, neither. That's why KO's fucking going the big lift. Whether it's UFC as well, they do. It's just fucking.
At least with UFC, you've been able to watch it online.
Well, yeah, on Fight Pass and shit for sure.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas boxing, you couldn't.
No, I know. Like it's what you had to do.
You couldn't. It was fucking ridiculous.
But no, we are fully fledged members of society now who pay for fights.
Yeah, we do. And look, I'm telling you right now, I feel like an adult.
Yeah, I
feel all grown up.
It's a game changer. And I think 2022 rolls around, we might have to start doing some, I don't know about necessarily fight companions where we go live, mainly because I don't trust Jarch and Hamish not to say something that will get us cancelled, but more so,
they've got some cancel in them.
They've got some cancel in them. Maybe we just need to get them. Maybe we just need to get them to a level where they, get the cancel out of them.
They'd be offended to hear that. But I think
one or both of them would admit that is potentially.
Well, they'd be offended to hear it, but they know it's true. They know it's the truth.
Yeah, mainly Jarch.
But I think that it depends on how pissed they were. Really,
exactly.
Can you get a cancel button put in?
Well,
is there a delay, Matt? Is that technology
how
possible?
Delayed are you, Matt, when we do a YouTube live?
Either 30 seconds or 15 seconds. It depends on the connection at the time.
So you could kill it if someone went rogue.
No,
but isn't it already, it's already sent?
It's not a dump button.
No,
it's just a
so
delay.
There's no dump.
No. So you just have 30 seconds where you're not cancelled. 30 seconds to prepare to get your affairs in.
I think you can do it though. I think you can do it. I'll look into it.
We'll look into that.
We'll look into it. But maybe
because it would be. I think it's a good idea, Tom.
Yeah.
Live stream some biffs moving forward because there's a lot of dead space in between fights, particularly boxing.
Yes.
It's like 45 minutes between fights.
I know.
Tom, did you ever have to use the dump button working in radio?
The first time I ever panelled, so that's like where you're pressing all the buttons, which I did very rarely. Everyone was like, you want to try and make yourself as valuable as possible, learn all the skills. I'm like, fuck doing the panelling, dude, because there was so much pressure on you. But I had to do it once because the boss of the time didn't roster on a panel operator. And then I get in there and the show's about to start and they're like, oh, we don't have a panel operator. I'm like, holy shit. So I just went in there and tried to do it. And the first fucking break of the show, some drunk motherfucker, it was the Saturday morning show, Dead Set Legends, and this drunk motherfucker who'd been pissing on all night calls up. We're like, great, let's take a call. And he just started going off. And
Don't they
swearing.
vet calls?
I was the producer, so I had to fucking just... Because
so you couldn't do too many. You couldn't do them all at once.
I couldn't vet the call and panel when I
Right.
didn't know how to fucking panel operate in it. And then the first thing I had to fucking dump it. And I was like, okay, well, we're now not in delay anymore, so I don't know how to fucking get us back into delay. So we basically can't take calls because I won't be able to dump anything. It was a shit fight. And then the boss tried to blame me.
Were you sweating?
Yeah, dude, sweating. Everyone was always like, you get nightmares about panel operating. I was like, well, I don't need that. Fuck panel operating. I'm not going to do it.
Nightmares? Because it's so stressful.
They make it stressful, dude. It's like if it fucks up and you go off air and everything, like they make it so stressful. And again, the boss of the time blamed me because he didn't roster on a panel operator. It's the most rinsed I've ever been by a boss ever. I had to go into his office on Monday. He's like, what happened on the weekend? I go,
What happens when you dump it?
You hit a button.
Yeah.
It's in 10 or 15 seconds delay.
Yep.
And then it basically just cuts out that 15 seconds
Yep.
and you come back up to live.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And the host is made aware?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Well, we're all in the fucking room together, right?
Oh, you're
So-
all in there.
Yeah, so it's like...
So you
dump.
go, it's dumped, and then you go, and you just come back in.
Yeah, yeah.
That doesn't sound like a big deal to me.
Well, it's not a big deal.
So why do they make it a big deal?
What do you mean? No, the general paneling of the show, if you then hit dump, like the dumping of something's not a big deal, but then you are out of delay. So now you're just live. So anything that happens, you can't dump. So then you have to go...
Oh, so right.
Then you have to get back into delay. It's a lot of like...
Can you do that in an ad break?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can.
But you didn't know how.
No.
So basically, whoever the fuck rostered you on...
Well, I was the producer. I wasn't roster. I was the producer of the show. The boss didn't roster on a panel operator. And then he made it my problem. He goes, what the fuck? I called him like with fucking 15, 20 minutes for the show to start. I go, dude, there's no panel operator in here. He's like, why am I only here about it now? I go, because I only just realized there was no one in the studio fucking paneling because I've been preparing the show. And he was like, well, you should have bloody checked. I go, why would I check? I've never had to fucking check on your work before ever. And he's like, I'll talk to you Monday. And I'm like, okay. And then I come into his office. He's like, what happened on the weekend? I'm like, bruh, you didn't roster anyone on. Again, I'm not talking like this. I wasn't being a fucking...
You didn't bribe?
I didn't bribe him. But he was a notorious cunt. And I was like, mate...
You should have bribed him.
Well, he goes, if you were me, how would you feel about this situation? I know this is what I did say. I go, well, I'd be a little disappointed I forgot to roster someone on. And he goes, get the fuck out of my office. Don't you fuck... And he doesn't have a door. He didn't have a door, so everyone in the fucking office could hear it. Don't you fucking... And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Like, and he's like, don't you fucking... And I'm like, all right, man. Got up, walked out. I was casually employed, so I thought, well, this is the end of this job. And then I had to go and like fucking apologize to him. But I was just like, dude, this is like... This was a problem for me. You're a fuckwit and you can't acknowledge when you do something wrong.
Is he the one that where
Yeah.
Karma?
Karma kicked in.
Yeah.
And he was booted. And I used to hate listen to the show that he had to do because it was fucking satisfying. Anyway, it's all right. We move on.
That's
Life
Biff's.
is fine. That's Biff's.
I was like, I'll say this though, just before we
Bow Biff's completely.
before we bow Biffs, I feel like I need to say it
Yeah.
before we bow Biffs. I fucking love mega fights so much.
Yeah, same.
They make me feel a certain way, and it's hard to explain.
Like
but
nothing
it's
else.
but it's just so fucking exciting.
Makes me feel alive.
Yeah, that's probably a good way of putting it. It makes you feel alive.
Oh, I messaged you yesterday when they were walking out. Like, we also haven't talked about their walkout get-up.
Oh my
So
God.
we are unbowing the Biffs. But when they were walking out, I sent you a message going, dude, like, I would be absolutely shitting my pants right now. Like, the eyes of the world are on you and you're walking out to go and fucking throw hands with some animal who's been training. That's all they've been doing to fuck you up.
For like years.
It's just...
When was the second fight? Fucking
2 years ago.
2 years ago. There. That's all they've thought about.
The cojones on anyone who does it. But obviously these two yesterday is just like, I'm nervous, as you say, I feel alive, but like I get anxious watching fights that I am invested in. You know what I mean? Like that I care about the outcome of. I'm sitting
that's
there,
usually a mega fight. You're usually invested
fairly one way or the other.
Yeah.
But I'm like sitting there on the couch, my heart thumping, like just anxious as shit, feeling alive.
Feeling alive. I can't imagine what it would be like to actually do it. Like prize fighters fascinate me.
The mentality.
The mentality, like you are the best in the world at being able to bash someone, essentially. Like you train and you commit yourself to that degree for that amount of time, and then the build up is so intense. You're fucking talking a heap of shit in press conferences that millions of people are watching.
You've got to try to back it up.
You got to fight all this fucking pressure to deliver. And at the moment, in front of that many people, it's so intense.
The bit that I sort of think
huge money at stake.
When you see them, like when the undercards are happening and they cut to back in the dressing rooms and they're just like, that to me would be the worst part of the whole fucking
Mate,
thing.
I would be head over a bucket, fucking white as a ghost.
You know, the only thing I can compare it to is when we were backstage for the great cricketer.
Yeah, and how were we? We were fucking nowhere. And then they cut into Fury and he's like singing Sweet Home Alabama, dancing around when fucking Wilder took forever. That was his flex on like, you wait for me, even though he was first.
And he was so, you can just tell, as soon as, like, obviously you don't know, but Wilder was trying too hard to be like, I'm not fucking wigging out about this.
So if those that didn't watch the fight, Wilder took like an extra 20 minutes to come out. He was, at the start, he was like, there was whispers that he was fucking saying he couldn't get his gloves on and all this crap. But it was basically a man used to coming out second that was now coming out first that was like, well, I'm going to make him wait. So then they were cutting to Fury and he was in there relaxed
as fuck,
singing Sweet Home Alabama and shit, like just sort of dancing around while everyone, his whole entourage just watches him.
Yeah, they all
just
like,
sort of weird. Like,
well, yeah, I was thinking that as well, right? Like where it's just, they obviously know at this point it's like, okay, he's just probably in his own head, just getting ready. Like, let's not fucking go and say, good luck, bro. Talk to him. It's just like, fucking leave me
shut
alone.
your fucking mouth and let him,
and just let me cruise around.
Smile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, put on a happy face and just let me bounce around the fucking.
But when he walked out, what was he? What was like?
He was dressed as a Spartan. That's what that was Omen Central for us.
Was that a Spartan? Were those hats Spartan? Looked like Roman to me.
I thought it was Roman as well, but then they had someone said to us Spartan.
Going off the movie 300, they were Spartans. They didn't wear those helmets.
Did they not?
Don't think so. Could be wrong.
Yeah, we could be
Happy to be wrong.
I seem to remember when there's like a slow-mo scene. God, that's a good movie. I'll watch that again. When
Aren't they Spartan in Troy?
No. Oh.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, maybe.
And they're not wearing them either.
But in 300, there's like a thing where there's like a blade flying through the air and it like slices the top of those helmets off, like the hair
That's
or something.
true. Maybe I'm not remembering correctly.
Well, look.
Dior's on it.
Yeah, he's on it. You can hear those little fingers
Yeah,
fucking
I can
blasting
hear him.
away.
I can hear him.
But it looked like... It was the most ridiculous outfit that he was wearing, Tyson Fury. Like, it looked like he'd got it from Toys R Us.
It was brilliant.
It was, oh no, it was fucking amazing.
It was brilliant in how weird he looked.
But what about when it started off with that fucking weird guy, like with the long nails on his skin and shit? I was like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah, that was
weird.
What the
fuck is happening? That reminded me of Xerxes from 300.
100% it did. 100. You took the words right out of my mouth. It was weird stuff, but it was good stuff.
And listen, Deontay Wilder, after the last one where he came out and he said like the fucking walking out with his suit on, like, mate, it was too heavy and that's why he lost. Again, bullshit excuses. He looks like a bad motherfucker when he comes out in those outfits. Though.
Oh, yeah. The bronze bomber, he looks sick,
He looked fucking
Those masks he gets made
dude.
are fucking loose.
Yeah, that looks sick. And then
it was like a nod to he'd sort of done his lineage and dated it back to a certain tribe in Nigeria. Maybe I could have got that wrong, but somewhere in Africa. And it was like a nod to
that's sick.
That tribe.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was
And
mad.
it looked fucking cool. And to see that, and it looked really cool, and he looked fucking fearsome, and he's jacked, and he just looks sick. And then Tyson to come out with this absolutely ridiculous Toys R Us fucking Spartan outfit. Started off by this weird flamboyant
really slow.
Xerxes. Yeah. But like walking just like, here we go. It's like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
And then he's got fucking Thunderstruck.
And then Thunderstruck starts. You're like, okay, this is very...
And then he puts his Jesus hat on and starts like dancing and shit. I'm like, this is all fucking absurd.
This is all over the shop here. I'm down for it though.
Boxing walkouts are sick though.
Yes.
I love them.
Yeah.
I think on the whole, they're a bit more They're better than UFC. They're more theatrical.
Yeah, more showy.
More ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
The more ridiculous, the better for me.
Exactly. And then
Like
'cause then you just
Fury's
gotta
come
back it
out in the
up.
past, literally carried out on a throne.
That 6'9", fucking 277 pounds, having some poor bastards go,
Yeah, I know.
oh, what a horrible snap. That's right, I watched some NFL. The disappointing thing from Deontay Wilder, after the second fight, all the shit about Fury cheating and like shit in his gloves, like whatever, I'm cool with that as like a tactic to sell the third fight if you really want to. Like it makes you look like an idiot, but whatever, that's fine. But after the third fight where you just get fucked up, like it's an amazing fight though, like an all-time great fight that you lose, unfortunately, but you don't lose any fans. Like you were tough as fuck. Fury goes to shake his hand and he goes, I don't respect you, and gets up and walks out of the ring. You're like,
You don't respect a man that's beat you 3 times?
Yeah.
And you're like...
but like after all that shit you've spoken about him, you lost to him. You know you lost to him. fair and
What did you
square.
say earlier? 42 wins, 41 knockouts.
Yeah.
The guy's beaten you 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one was a draw, but everyone knows he won. You got to respect that man, surely. If you
But
can't
also,
respect
like,
him, who
just
the
in
fuck do you respect?
But just in the the nature of sport, like you got to be a good loser. Like you've got to, you are the only one that looks bad if you're a salty loser, dude. Like if you lose, you have to show respect to the opposition, even if you fucking hate them. Good win, mate. Like well done.
Yeah, it's not great for Brand Deontay.
Dude, he looks like a fucking sook.
He looks like a
after
big
all the
sook.
cheating rhetoric, and then it's
And
like
they're not going to fight again, so
No.
like,
Nah.
what's it all for, mate?
Yeah.
What's it all for? Anyway, fucking great way to spend a Sunday afternoon, punters and dribblers. If you didn't watch it, then shame on you.
You missed out.
Shame on you. I don't know what the fuck you were doing with yourself.
No.
You were playing a shocker. Put it
Playing
that
an
way.
absolute shocker. You have to watch these things. You have to be there for these things. You have to be smart. These things just are like...
They don't come up. It's not fucking Sunday afternoon football, which you can set your watch to. That's on at 4 o'clock every Sunday.
You just don't know when
you don't know. We could wait. It could be 3 years away.
Yeah.
The next big boxing fight.
No, or even like, not even necessarily the next big one. You might have a big one that flops. But you know what? You're still talking about... People still talk about Thriller in Manila. Fucking Rumble in the Jungle.
A, we might not have another mega fight for 3 years. And B, it might be shit.
Yeah. So you just have to be watching for these things.
You got
And it's what Steph was laughing about. Steph goes, it's so funny. Every time you guys watch them together, or the last couple of times, they've been shit house. And then when you guys aren't together, it's like the greatest fight of all time. Could you imagine it?
Yeah, and the Volkanovski one, which we weren't together for, was a fucking ripper as well.
Absolute ripper as well.
Annoying.
Yep. Anyway.
We've watched good fights together, though.
Oh, fuck yeah, we have.
So she's not 100%
She's not
right.
entirely right. And
No.
listen, I had to let her know that. But look,
She's part right.
I think she's just pushing us to get the band back together. You know what I mean?
Love that from Steph. Love that.
That is Biff's. Time to talk a little bit of ICC T20 Men's Cricket World Cup, Edward. Brought to you by our good friends at KO Sports. Now, the ICC T20 Men's Cricket World Cup, exclusive to Fox Cricket, available on KO. I've already seen the benefit. Obviously, you and I, kings of KO, well known. But the time where, where is it? The fucking UAE. So the cricket's on at night. Not everyone's up watching fucking T20s in the middle of the night. I've already been able to take advantage of the KO minis. I watched Australia play most of it live. Finished the back end on the minis the next day. Thank you very much for the support to KO, Edward. But I think now we get into the cricket chat. Australia v South Africa. Game 1. We got the job done.
We got the job done, but
It wasn't
pretty.
It was. You know what? Our fucking
It was not pretty.
our
Tom.
bowling innings was pretty. We looked good there.
No, we looked great there. We
We
looked
looked
great there.
great.
But however many times have we said this in the last 4 years? Maybe 5. Bowlers fucking did a job. Our bowlers always do a job.
Let's start with the bowling. Let's just start with positives. Big show of fucking
Top knot fame.
disgraceful top knot fame. I'll allow it, but it's disgraceful.
It's got more disgraceful, I think.
Well, it doesn't, like, it's a top knot for top knot's sake. There's no utility value to that top knot. It's not keeping the hair out of the face.
What I'm concerned with the top knot is how out of place it now looks. The top knot used to get around.
Yes.
And I'm talking like a year or two ago. You would see.
I'd say two or
Two
three.
and a half, maybe three now.
I think it could have been
Time
three.
flies when you're
Yeah,
having fun.
it does.
We've been having plenty of fun.
Plenty.
So I'm comfortable saying 3 years ago the top knot was doing the rounds.
Yes.
Even then, in the depths of the top knot winter,
Yeah.
I don't think that anyone was truly comfortable with its existence.
No.
The fact that we've seen it permeate on Maxwell's head, Big Show's head, for the last 18 months. He was like 18 months late to the party,
So
and now
late.
it's been there for 18 months too long.
Dude, I honestly forgot that he had it. And then when I saw
Until I saw it again.
I
was
saw
like,
it again.
Holy fuck.
And this might sound like hyperbolic. It might sound alarmist. It might sound OTT. That's over the top. It threw me. It threw me. I couldn't enjoy the game while he was bowling, even when he was taking wickets. I was like, this thing is too much for me.
Can I be honest with you? It rattled me.
Yeah.
I was rattled when I saw it.
Yep.
Maybe that's why I took a couple of wickets, because,
Well, he had to.
I mean, the batsman,
They're going, holy shit. Wait, is it 2018?
is it 2017? What is that top knot doing? And even in the top knot winter, you look at that thing and you think, Jesus, it's the most
was a
outrageous
distraction.
fucking top knot I've ever seen.
It was a distraction in the top knot winter. Now, in 2021, it's a distraction because people are now confused about what year it is. So I think you see the first wicket he got, the guy just fucking missed it. He bowled him clean.
Golden Clay.
Bowled him clean. And I think you put that down to the top knot. Now, some would say, well, then is the top knot worth it? I'd still say no, personally. But that's just me. I can't handle it. But look, he got some wickets.
Look, if the top knot wins us a World Cup, then I'll start to have some conversations around the fact that top knot maybe, was worth it.
If it wins us a World Cup, then it's worth it.
But getting a wicket or two in the opening match against South Africa is not going to
Cut the mustard.
Well, it's not. It doesn't allow a pass mark.
No.
It's not exonerated.
No,
Top
exactly.
knot.
No, it's
Still
not.
on trial.
Still on trial, jury out. Maxwell wickets, top knot. I think he's got some veneers as well. No knocking the veneers, but with the top knot, it was
People
very-
get veneers.
Dude, I'm fucking all
But
for
you're talking
veneers.
about playing veneers off a top knot.
If you're playing a veneers into a top knot, it's hard. It's just hard. And again, this isn't an anti-veneers rhetoric because I'd take veneers. My teeth are fucked. But top knot into veneers, hard to compute when I'm like, whoa, there's a lot going on.
veneers sound like what they look like.
They do, don't they? Yeah. Veneers.
Unlike bangs, which I'm like, makes no sense.
Yeah.
We're talking about your fringe, basically.
Yeah.
And you're calling them bangs? I'm lost. When I found out that that's what bangs were, I was like, I am shocked.
This makes no sense.
This makes no sense whatsoever. But veneers, I think, look like them.
They look 100% like what they are.
Yes.
100%.
Big
That is a
smile,
great call.
White, over the top.
That's a great call. Go, son.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd be putting that as a quote tile. Eddie Simpson, veneers look exactly like what they are.
We'll have to do something.
We'll have to do something like that.
In fact, we will.
No, we
We'll
definitely
do
will.
exactly
We'll
that.
do exactly that. Not something like that. We'll do that exactly. So big show, top knot veneers, all good. Zampa, Zampa's.
Can I say something about Zampa? His short hair makes him look like he's 3.
I mean, he's a young-looking dude anyway.
Yeah, but like now that the long hair's gone and it's short.
Yeah,
I'm
but
like,
he's got a bit of a mullet. He looks like he could be a bikie, a young bikie. Like he's getting patched in or whatever they're called. So like it's like he's not in there yet, but he's got.
What he's like running around and doing odd jobs and shit.
He's earning his place, right? He
14-year-old
probably
kid
gets
who's like-
yeah. He probably gets jumped every once in a while by like older bikies who are sort of but like he's getting patched in, short hair here, bit of a mullet on the back that I think looks cool. I like his hair. And I like that Zampa flies by his own fucking rules. Maybe not in the bikie world. He'd probably have to do what he's told. But in the world of Australian cricket, in the fast-paced world of Australian cricket, he just does whatever the fuck he wants. Weird hair, mullet.
Yeah, he does whatever he wants.
Bowls leggies
Bowls
that
when he's
don't
told,
spin.
But,
Bowls when he's told. But, am I a leggy that doesn't spin it most of the time? Sometimes I do. Whatever. But he's a good fucking bowler. Took a couple of wickets.
But that's almost his strongest attribute. He's not being able to spin it.
100%.
Sometimes you've got to not be able to spin it.
Because that's when you confuse people. They go, this thing's going to fucking
Oh, they
spin.
didn't do anything.
Did nothing.
Well, that went straight on.
That went straight on. But I do like Zampa. I think
I'm a
he's cool.
fan. I'm a fan. But what, we set them,
They set us 119. They didn't do very well at all.
No, they didn't.
They didn't do very well at all. They had a fucking atrocious run out, which was hilarious. So they slipped over.
that was embarrassing.
The slip over where both of your feet are next to each other and just go vonk. Like, you know, like if you're sort of trying to get your bat over the line to turn and run again and you slip, like that's, but this is one where it's like the guy's tried to like stop on the spot and then both his feet have just gone vonk out from under him and you're like, you look like a buffoon. A buffoon. But anyway, so the South Africans didn't put up much for us, but then we got off to a pretty shit start with the skip, A. Finch, out for a duck. I read this stat, Dior its legitimacy, but I'm pretty sure I saw it on the ICC Twitter, the T20 World Cup Twitter. He now has the record for the most golden ducks, or the most ducks in T20 international history as a captain.
There's something that is burnt into my like frontal cortex. I don't know if that's correct.
Frontal lobe?
Don't know. Of Finch walking off with his head down and 0 coming up on the screen. Like I see it a lot.
It's funny because like I think stats-wise for one day he's actually an all-time, which is crazy because I don't see it.
No.
I don't see him as an all-timer.
No.
But
No
I think
offense.
no, that's no offense, but I think stats-wise as like a opener runs, I'm pretty sure he's up there with like some of the greats. For whatever reason, I never feel safe or confident when he is at the crease, ever.
I would never say this. In Finch we trust.
I would never say it.
I'd never say that.
Now, this might sound like, geez, guys, we just won the first fucking game in the tournament and you're very neg. We're not neg. We are a little. I'm just saying.
We're just talking about the fact that Finch got a duck. What, you want us to talk that up?
Yeah, the concern has been that our openers aren't fucking in the greatest of form, and that stood up because Davey also, after hitting a couple of boundaries, then gets caught. Swamp Junior I've got money on him to be the top run scorer of the tournament. He's fucking batting 3 for Australia. Mitch Marsh, he didn't do anything.
Would he get 11, 14, something like that?
Off
enough.
Off like 15 nuts as well.
Not enough. Smudge.
Smudge just went in there and goes, I've got to come in here and fucking anchor this bitch because
And he anchored the fuck
he
out
did.
of it.
I
You
just
take
got to.
Smudge out of that side, I think we lose.
Yeah, I would say that's probably fair to say.
Which is shocking, I know. But we
Yeah.
we needed 8 off the last over. We got there with 3 balls to spare, I think. Like,
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking close for comfort, don't
It's
you
very close when you're
think?
chasing 119.
119. I mean, dear God. Win's a win. And
Love
full
a
credit
win.
to the boys, because a win is a win. And we take the win and we take the 2 points and we march onwards. Onwards we march.
Yeah.
But it was a little close for comfort. I think we can all say that. The bloke who caught Smudge took a fucking scream. I don't know what his name was.
No, I don't know many of the names of the South Africans, especially in the T20s.
Noortje.
Nordtje. I think it's like Nordtje. Like it's
Anrik Noortje.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you should be able to
I
pronounce
should,
these,
but
Dave.
Yeah, no.
Come on, Dave.
Were you going for South Africa, your turncoat? Although technically
No.
not really a turncoat
Nah.
because you are South African in descent.
Yeah, no. No, my parents, they hate South Africa now.
Really?
In terms of sport.
Love that.
Yeah.
I am glad you've said that because now it makes me feel like there's a free, safe space for me to also say I fucking hate South Africans in sport.
Yeah, I get that.
I didn't want to say it if you hadn't. I fucking hate them. Like, obviously, there's like the Poms. Obviously, they're our mortal enemies. But like, South Africans, like, just as their vibe of like opponent, I have a disdain for.
We usually always best them as well, which is
Yes, we do, which is nice. But they're
Would
just
we
like
best anyone more than South Africa? We best them all the time.
we always best them when we shouldn't, in the sense that like.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
We always beat them in rugby when we have no fucking right to. Like,
Dude, they
their
come here and
record
we
in
dust them
Australia
2
is
in a row.
appalling.
We're like their bogey side.
I think we would be their bogey side.
Yeah.
They do much better against New Zealand than us in rugby.
Yep.
In cricket, we always pump them because we pump everyone. But you know what I mean?
Yes.
They've got that 99. Was it 1999 bed shit to you think about.
Yes,
it becomes something to mind.
exactly.
Alan
You just
Donald
the World
ran,
Cup,
whatever.
which is why I was saying that's what that run out reminded me of because they slipped over like a bunch of losers. Anyway, look, Stoinis, he got the job done when he came in. It was good to see him.
Stoinis looking good.
He's looking good. He's also fucking just
He's looking thick.
so thick, dude.
He's looking thick as fuck.
So thick. Just does not quit.
Won't quit.
Won't quit. Now,
He's big and thick. I'll tell you what, though, but if those boys, if you run it over the side, if we fire, we're a sniff.
if we fire, we're a sniff. 100%. We've
We've got fucking firepower on that side.
Yeah.
Like Maxwell, he's coming in with the reverse hits and shit. Like if he stays in a little longer, just
He
he can demoralise you.
He has the record for the most runs scored off switch hitting in international T20s. Look at me.
He's
the
fucking
stats.
good at it.
Yeah, he's got like 200 and something runs off switch hitting.
He's unbelievable.
And he's like far and away ahead. He's like 80 or 90 runs ahead of the next best.
Warner can swing him, Marsh can swing him, Smudge is Smudge, Stoiny, Maxwell. Like,
Wade Osk,
Wade
Camo,
came, like-
Hazelwood, Starkey. I was listening on the way in.
boys are up.
Stark was the one they were saying they could potentially, I don't know if they ever would, but like drop or like he's meant to swing it and he doesn't or he hasn't been. So it's like when you're meant to swing it and you're just pitching them up and they're just getting fucking spanked. He went for 10 off his first over. That's what we need to talk about. The market that we were betting on and about, even first ball markets, the famous first ball market, which we'll continue to do. You had dot ball at a measly $1.60. Myself and Michael, the wide. When I saw that we were bowling first and it was Mitch Stark, I was like, we could be on here for a first ball wide. And then Sebo, 2 runs off the first ball, 23 boners it was paying. Got up.
It's impressive.
It's very impressive. Sebo will probably win the week on about even off the back of that fucking bet, you would think. But the other 2 games we were speaking about, India v Pakistan and England v the Windies. India got done.
They did. Pakistan too big, too strong, too thick.
They pumped them.
Love that.
I love it as well.
As a man that was on the back of Pakistan, like I was whipping them home.
We were all whipping Pakistan home.
I was very happy with that.
Yeah.
I love seeing India lose.
Same.
Shoot me for it.
And I like India
for
as a
it.
cricketing nation. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, but
I
you want it, but you're all barracking for the best to lose, surely.
definitely.
Surely that's where we're at.
Unless the best is Australia.
In which case, obviously, we're not. But I haven't really gotten over India beating us last year in the Test series. I
No.
haven't really got over that.
I haven't got over
Obviously, I still harbour a lot of ill feeling.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of parlaying that ill feeling into my support of Pakistan. They get the job done. I'm happy. You're happy. We're happy. The nation's happy.
Yeah.
It's good for the nation.
Indians are upset.
Not my problem.
Not our problem. Sorry, not our problem.
West Indies
England.
set 55
That's not
all out.
that's not fantastic, is it?
55 all out. That's not great.
The Windies seem like a side that could get 55 all out, or they could score 400 in a T20
And not lose a wicket.
And not lose a wicket. They seem like their difference between their best and their worst is quite significant. Now, I'm basing that off very little cricketing knowledge and
Vibe and vibe alone.
vibe alone. But I think that's probably spot on. Did Daddy pick England head-to-head into Joss Butler to top score? Yes, he did.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's impressive stuff.
Yeah.
Still needed 8 overs to chase down 55 runs, but
I wonder whether that was just like, let's
they
not...
lost 4 wickets.
Did they?
Yeah.
You'd be starting to get nervous at 4 wickets.
That's at like chasing 50 runs, losing 4 wickets,
Yeah.
8 overs.
That's Thick
fucking
Ropes
great,
County
bro.
11 sort of shit.
Yeah,
that's
that's
how
not-
we'd lose like that.
That's not great.
No, that's not great.
That's pretty ordinary.
Yeah.
Where there's no pressure, and like you just got to.
Sometimes when there's no pressure, that's when there's probably the most pressure. It's like you should do this easy. You're only chasing 50 runs. Like you could get this in and over if you were ripping.
And there were some wides.
And there were some wides involved.
Plenty of wides.
Plenty of wides.
But it could be done.
Some noes.
Some no's, plenty of no's. But we're pumped. Who do we play next, Dave?
We have got, let's see, Sri Lanka on Friday.
Beautiful.
Shouldn't be. Well, I don't know where Sri Lanka are at.
No, who cares?
They
It's
were
just
one of the B sides that.
Okay,
so,
we'll pump them.
I'm thoroughly enjoying this 2020 Cricket World Cup so far.
Yeah.
I'm just finding myself like much more, for whatever reason, into it than maybe in the past with T20 internationals. I think with the World Cup, I guess it's probably easy to get into because it's a bit more on the line.
World Cup.
When there's just like random fucking quadrangular
Good time of the year
tournaments
as
and
well,
shit.
not much on.
Yeah, true. They got clear air in this nation.
Really clear air in the nation.
I think that's cricket, though. Shout out to the Aussie boys. Shout out to Top Knots and Veneers, and to scoring plenty of runs, please, Mitch Marsh, in games going forward. Shout out to KO.
Shout out to the minis.
The minis, the KO minis, where you can catch all the games if you aren't up at night watching it on Fox Cricket exclusively. Let's move on. Eddie, I think that you and I, look, we've been long-term fans and supporters of the King Kyrgios. And we were saddened to see this week that him and his misso, Shizar, I don't know, he wrote it on a fucking screen once. Miss your Shiz after he broke up with her and then he was at the Oz Open. Listen, it's been a tumultuous relationship. It's been Dawson's Creek, the OC played out in front of us, in front of, our real life.
Plenty
real
of
time.
Dawson's Creek about
A lot
it.
of
Plenty of
Dawson's
OC.
Creek, yeah.
Plenty of drama.
So
Shout out to
anyway,
the OC.
the King they got back together. But whenever they blew, the missus turned straight to Instagram and just fucking starts
Lighten him up.
burning this, like torching this motherfucker on Instagram. They just coming back from the US because I think they were over there for the US Open, and then they cruised around.
Yep.
To my knowledge, they were back in Adelaide quarantining together when she started.
He was coming home because his mum's sick, so he's like sort of dropped the rest of.
Oh,
he's
really?
bailing on the season.
What's wrong with the mum? Like bad sick, is it?
Yeah, not great. Sick.
Oh, fuck.
I
That's
think
it.
he's having time off indefinitely, as far as I'm aware.
Right.
So he's come home early, quarantined with the missus, Nick, who is
Nick, is anyone shocked if Nick's rooting around?
Put it this way: has Nick got scallywag in him? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
Now-
he's fucking 25, shitloads of money,
Shitloads of money.
bit of bravado.
Everyone throwing themselves at him.
Yeah.
Like, listen,
good-looking guy.
it's not for us to judge if he's cheating. Who gives a shit if he's been a piglet, whatever. But this chick, she's been sent photos of him from a bird laying in bed with him, and this has all happened whilst they're in quarantine together. So that is got to be one of the most. Is that the worst? Is that like hell on earth?
It's hell on
Locked
earth.
in a fucking room with your girlfriend, and she finds out you've been cheating on her?
Chiara Passari is her
I
name.
think Kiara, perhaps.
Chiara. Thank you, Dave. That's why you're here. So she's put up the photo of Nick clearly in bed with another woman. Like, this has been sent from the other woman, I would
Yeah.
say. And it says, ask me a question. What happened that fateful night at 161 nightclub? That girl naked in bed with him isn't me, by the way. Hope that clears it up.
Sweet.
Okay, sure.
What else have we got? You can just click along, Dave, and they'll keep going.
Did you know Nick
Yeah, so she
cheated
did it. She basically didn't ask me anything on her Instagram where she just gets all these followers asking her questions. She's just answering them all.
Someone asked, did you know Nick cheated on you when he wrote your name on the Oz camera after wins? No, sad face. How embarrassing for me though, lol. After Valentine's Day, Nick posted a photo of us, and that's when I found out about him hooking up with a different girl at the club to this girl he slept with on a separate night. He begged me to come to Melbourne after he knew.
He was getting with multiple girls. Blah, blah. Listen, well, there might be a few more here. Just click through. But she... Like, I can completely think, like, it's reasonable for a girlfriend to be upset if her boyfriend's cheating on her, right? Like, that's all good. Going to Instagram, like, doing all of this shit to this level is completely unnecessary and fucking crazy town, right? Like, this is mental. She's done it like 10 times. Anytime they have a fight, no one knows that you're fucking breaking up, dude, or that she's cheating on you. Like, why the fuck are you going and... Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
You're making this everyone's business by going
But that's
to Instagram.
what she wants that.
I know.
She wants to bury him.
Yeah, she wants to bury him, which makes her a piece of shit.
It depends how you look at it.
But they're both pieces of shit.
They're both pieces of shit.
We're not saying that Nick Kyrgios isn't a little piglet who's cheated on his missus, but like, that happens. You know what? Relationships...
relationships happen, right? Like relationship breakups, this, that, it happens. Obviously, it's not nice to be cheated on or to, if you are doing the cheating, it's not, but like this is character assassination and burying some cunt on Instagram. He's not responding at all.
Look, at the end of the day, what a cunt of a situation to be in lockdown.
They had to go and change.
They got separated by the police because it got so hectic. They had to split them up because they were like like the full Barney in there.
Dude.
Imagine the screaming and shit. It would have been a fucking zoo.
Dude, this is the best though. And this is why Nick Kyrgios, I absolutely believe this is true because he's such a piglet. And this is an excuse story. One time before he was coming over to mine and had just spent the weekend in Sydney, he sent me a photo of a massive hickey on his neck and said, babe, I'm just sending you this now before I come over and you freak out. But this hickey isn't from a girl. My mate gave it to me. I love it from the king. That's a bold play.
The king. That is so bold.
that is as so bold a play. You're better off.
Name a bolder play.
That's the biggest Hail Mary play of all time, surely.
Surely you say a fucking tennis ball hit you in the neck.
Dude, surely you make up a lie for why you can't go over. Sorry, I've been called into some last-minute emergency training camp with
He's
fucking...
like, you know what? I'm just going to lean into this.
Yeah.
Well, she's obviously bought it at the time.
Well, that's true. She's only bringing this one up now.
Because he's been like, it's so because he's probably gone, I wouldn't have seen you otherwise. It's so outrageous.
Yeah, why would I come over?
Why would I come over? My mate did it to me. Bit of a giggle. Like,
so
there's a bit of genius in it.
To be honest, in the moment, it probably worked perfectly.
I think it did.
Hide in plain sight.
I think it did. Now it's completely obvious
Yeah.
because you've been illuminated to the fact that Nick is a pig. But before you knew that, you were prepared to believe his little fucking...
His little
tail.
That his mate gave him a hickey, which is...
I've never, put it that way, I've never heard of a mate giving a mate a hickey.
No. And I can't imagine myself allowing you to suck on my neck to the point where it's bruised. I mean, for any reason, unless you're sucking out poison, unless you've been bitten by a snake.
They don't just pop up immediately, the hickey. You got to do some sucking.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You got to... It's like...
You got to put some work in.
It was like I was bitten on the leg by a snake, but you want to suck the poison out through my neck.
Well, I'm just saying, to allow another man to suck on your neck to the point that it bruises for a giggle it's a fucking big ass.
The hickey,
it's very intimate.
The hickey is actually such an unnecessary byproduct of just getting a little hot and heavy. Like when you're a kid, and I mean a kid when you're like 16, 17, 18 and you're just sort of discovering all this shit. Like I've had hickeys before, but never really.
Well, they are a mark of the youth.
Yeah.
What I find interesting is how old is this story? Because if Nick is allowing himself to get hickeys aren't that commonplace.
No, but they're also not that enjoyable. It's like it's not something where it's like a really sexual. It's like keep sucking.
No.
As you said, you got to put in work.
You got to put work in. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like licking, kissing,
kissing, sucking, fucking.
A suck for a second, sure, but the continued same spot. Dice in the fucking area.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a big day.
You basically need to have a leech on your neck.
But he's allowing it. He's like, fucking play on.
Dave, can you Dior what what is happening when you get a hickey?
I think, just to play devil's advocate here for Nick, I reckon the lady that's given it to him has left an intentional mark.
100%. But you should know
almost
that.
like branding.
Yes.
And he's not fucking...
He's not prepared to say no to
He's not playing eyes up footy.
No,
Put
he's
it that
like,
way.
fuck it. Brand me, baby.
That's fucking footy.
Yeah, that is fucking footy. Well, I mean, Nick might be, outside of rugby league, the number one proponent of fuck it footy.
Yeah, he's the pin-up boy.
He's the pin-up boy for fuck it footy. It's the way he plays his tennis. Clearly the way he conducts his personal life. He's just like, fuck it, I'll find an excuse.
There's nothing eyes up about this, mate.
No, fuck it. Yeah, my mate gave me the hickey.
Yeah.
So it says here, a hickey is a dark red or purple mark on your skin caused by intense suction when your partner, or I guess in Nick's case, your mate, sucks on and bites your skin. The pressure breaks little blood vessels under the surface, and then those broken vessels release tiny spots of blood called petechiae or something.
Sure. Okay.
There you go.
Burst blood vessels. The hickey a huge day. Like the hickey is not a mature sexual indulgence.
No, it's very immature. Very well. It's like it's the sign of the youth.
Yeah, it's not a kink. Well, I'm sure it might be a kink for some people, but like, go get suction cups if you really want to.
I'm sure some people find it kinky.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't sit in that camp. I don't want to be branded walking around town. I don't want to have to go up to the coffee shop and fucking have eyes on me wearing a fucking scarf in the middle of summer. I don't need that.
No one needs that. You look like a fucking idiot.
You look like an idiot.
But you look like more of an idiot with a hickey on you. You know what I mean? So
No, you look more.
You look like a fucking dead.
It doesn't
shit
matter
with a
what
hickey.
you're doing. You look more ridiculous with a hickey.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is.
No.
You look more ridiculous. You can never look better with a
It
hickey.
doesn't look cool.
No, it looks
You probably
ridiculous.
think it looks cool when you're fucking 17.
Fucking yeah. When you're 16, when
Maybe
you're
though. Even then, you're still embarrassed about it.
yeah, to a degree, but you're just like.
Yeah, got a hickey.
Fucking-
I remember a guy in our year. He got a hickey so intensely, it looked like a fucking mole on his neck. Like it was like he'd been like a golf ball had been shot into his neck. Like it was perfectly round and just black. And it was like that was you and your misso have almost set out. All right, it's Sunday. Let's just sit here and let's rip in. Like it was it didn't look cool. It looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Like
ridiculous.
the work required.
Yeah, and our PDH PE teacher was just bagging the fuck out of him the whole class. It was hilarious because like, what can you do? You're in a tie and shit, and it's like it's sitting above your collar of your school.
Oh,
shirt.
above the neckline.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in trouble.
You're in big trouble.
The hickey kink seems to be very much tied into the world of like, scratch marks, little bites, like
BDS, not
Yeah,
BDS. Is it BDSME?
It's one of those letters which is like they like a bit of pain and like a bit of bruising and stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't really. I don't remember it hurting as much as it just feeling
Well,
like
I think
Maybe it's the
yeah.
mark.
yeah.
It's
Being
the
marked
mark,
to
yeah.
some degree.
But
Yeah.
it would seem that the people
It's like
that are
branding
into
without
that,
the fucking hot iron.
yeah, it is. Yeah, Yellowstone.
So you're saying like hot candle wax and fucking whips and shit.
Yeah.
Scratching
I think-
nails down the back.
yeah, the
sits in that
hickey,
world.
the hickey is the entry level to that world.
Yeah,
I
that
would
is. It's a
say.
gateway.
It's a gateway drug.
It's a
sort of.
gateway sexual
Gateway kink.
proclivity. Gateway kink.
Gateway kink.
Gateway
Because
kink.
I'm not a scratch my back either. Like I don't mind. Again, not to get too into like sexual fucking interests here, but like if you mark me up with your fingernails, problems.
If you're taking chunks of my fucking
Yeah.
skin out with your nails, we've got huge
We've
fucking
got
problems.
huge
Because
problems.
now I can't sit in a chair without being in pain.
Or hop in a shower and you're like,
Then that's not a quick fix.
No,
That's not a fucking how an hour's up. I should
Yeah,
be good
yeah,
to go.
no, no,
That's
that's-
like a week long.
that's blood showing up through the t-shirt.
That's scarred up. Now I've
Yeah.
got scabs on my back.
Yeah,
Are you
we don't
kidding
need that.
me?
Look like we hit with a cat of nine tails.
No.
Dude, someone said here on Reddit, I've had my back bloodied a few times, especially in college. Walks of shame are different when your back is bleeding and you can't find your shirt, especially when an officer stops you.
Bro,
I've never
fuck
been-
that.
I've never been scratched up to that degree.
No,
Fuck no.
don't do that. I mean, good luck to you if you're into it. If you are,
Good for you.
no, call the dribbler hotline, not with like, oh, yeah, I love getting scratched. I'd love to hear your explanation.
Yeah, if you love getting scratched, talk us through it. Because I need to know.
I'd love to know.
I need to know. I have to know how you deal with the aftermath.
Or even just kinks in general. If you got a kink for us,
send it in.
send in your kinks. Sucking on toes and shit. No, thank you. I'm pretty
pretty kink free.
I'm pretty king free. Like, you can be like positions and shit, but that's not kinks.
No,
Kinks
I'm
is
talking.
like
I'm talking.
feet.
Yeah,
armpits, fucking shoes, whips.
all that shit. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not adventurous enough. Maybe I'm old fashioned. Maybe I'm a fucking loser. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing out.
Yeah.
But it's a world that I'm a little.
Well, it's just
Is it
not
au fait? I'm not au fait with it.
No, not au fait with it. But anyway,
Shout out to Nick, who clearly is.
clearly,
But you know what? When you play fuck it footy in every aspect of your life, like hasn't had a coach for 10 years, walks around with hickeys on his neck saying his mate gave it to him. Like part of that I respect, even though he's a piglet.
yes,
I respect how
unashamedly piggish she is. Even though, again, you do feel sorry for anyone. You can see she's clearly upset and she's a young girl doing dumb shit, but you're also like if you're his family, Kyrgios's family, and you're seeing your son's misso doing this shit, you're like, bruh, my fly's down. You're like, what the fuck are you doing with this chick? Get away from her. Like, why are you even in a relationship, dude? What's the point?
Yeah, that's what I can't quite work out.
Don't fuck with this poor girl's heart.
Don't fuck with this poor girl's heart. Like, if you want to go rip and tear, but rip and tear her in your own terms.
Yeah.
Don't drag someone else into it.
Don't drag her around.
And like, he'd get a root a night if he wanted. He'd get a couple.
I don't think chonging is a problem for Nick.
He could, honestly, if he was overseas playing tennis, he could get 5 or 6 a day if he wanted.
Yeah. Again, for men that make it in the world, they are able to hack the system.
Yeah.
Where
he can hack the system.
Because it's
the system's there to be hacked, but not all of us have the key.
In the general, day-to-day world, it is, and rightfully so, the women that hold the key. But then, you become a Brad Pitt, or you become a Nick Kyrgios.
Or you become rich.
Or you become loaded, and then you can hack the system.
Yeah.
Some of you can hack the system.
There are hacks.
There are people out there who have hacked it. There are hackers.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
There are hackers.
Take 708 wickets and you've hacked it.
Take 708 wickets. That's not even a hacking. That's more like you've earned the right.
You've beaten the game.
Well, it's a hack of sorts.
It's a hack. Well, it is a hack. It's a hack. Whether you like it or not, it's a hack.
Mate, when you have 3 women over and you leave all the windows open and you keep the neighbours up all night as you go on one of the great sex romps all time, you've hacked the system.
You've hacked the system, but 2 of them were sex workers, so you assume that he has outlaid.
They were too. Forgot about that
Yeah,
bit.
I think he paid for those.
Is that using cheat
Well,
codes?
how do we know he paid for them?
We don't know.
You know what I mean? They would have been like, you don't have to pay for that.
No.
That was tremendous.
That was fucking phenomenal.
That's what I like to think happened.
Yeah, of course. That's what I like to sit up at night and sort of imagine. But that's Nick Kyrgios. Shout out to the king. All hail the king. Gypsy King into the king of fuck it footy.
Theme here.
And we press on. One thing before we do move on to more sport, Eddie. I don't know what it is, right? I don't know what the exact technological advancement needs to be, or not even advancement, but just technological sort of addition to our life. But I feel like there's got to be some sort of alarm, whether it's on your Apple Watch, on your phone, some sort of reminder, even if it's in the bathroom of your house, but that like for the next 24 hours after you've consumed beetroot, you need to have something that reminds you that you have, so that when you take a shit or a piss, you don't think you're dying. Because I forget every time, and then I have red wee-wee or poo-poo, and I'm like, holy fuck. Death's on the door. Look who's knocking at the door.
I didn't think that's where we're going. I honestly didn't think that. That's taking me right off guard. I know what you're saying though, Tom. I'm just trying to workshop it. I'm just trying to workshop it in my head.
Don't pretend for 1 second that you don't. Surely everyone who's consumed beetroot has had a moment where they've gone, I'm in trouble.
Did I say that?
No, I'm just saying.
I think how it would work is, you'd have your phone and you'd mark where the John is on the map, so that your phone from a GPS perspective is aware. If you're there in that area for longer than 60 seconds,
Yeah, push notification.
you get a push notification. Hi, I'm guessing you're on the John. Remember you had beetroot yesterday.
How do you feel about the news that Michael Slater of Slats fame has been sacked from Channel 7 or moved on in the wake of his challenging the leader of our nation, Scott Morrison, to a debate post,
Is that why he was fired?
that's the yarn.
Or are they looking for something?
Well,
My guess would be, how many years has the cricket been with 7 now? 2?
2 or 3.
I think it's been 2 summers. I'm just playing the other side of the coin.
Yep.
They might have sacked him because he challenged the fucking leader of the country to a debate, which seems...
While he was high on club sandwiches in an Indian resort.
We've been
or
over
in the
that.
Maldives.
Go back through the back catalogue. That is maybe a small possibility. I think what is more likely is that he's contracted for X amount of time. The feedback hasn't been great on Slats.
It does say here,
And that they've told him to move on.
Channel 7 decided not to renew the 51-year-old's contract due to budgetary restraints.
There we go.
There's a quote, unfortunately, business decisions have to be made from time to time, and unfortunately, we're not in a position to renew it.
If
Okay,
you
so-
don't think that it's because he challenged
Oh, yeah.
Scott Morrison to a fucking debate when
I
he
don't
had a
reckon.
few fucking club sambos.
I don't reckon.
100%.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
100%.
Kerry Stokes, owner of Seven, big ScoMo Liberal Party fan for sure.
Mate. And to be honest,
Okay, fair enough. Do you love Slats?
I don't mind Slats. I don't love him, but I don't mind him. When you look at who Channel 7, can you just, Dave, get up Channel 7's cricket roster? When you look at who there is, I don't think that they're overflowing with talent. They've got the great Ricky Ponting, who's fucking phenomenal.
Like,
right?
without Ricky, they're in big trouble.
They don't have many people. They don't have many people there where it's like, I think that you can be reasonably.
Have they got Gilly? Oh, no, he's 10.
No, he's Fox.
Oh, he's Fox, that's right.
So this was at the start of this year.
Yep.
So assuming it hasn't changed much. Ponting,
Yep.
Mel McLaughlin,
Mel's,
Sunil Gavaskar,
Yep.
Brian Lara, Michael Slater, gone now, Damien Fleming,
I fucking cannot stand Flem. No disrespect.
Alison Mitchell, James
Ali Mitchell's good.
James Brayshaw,
Brayshaw a bit AFL-y.
Lisa Sthalaka.
Lisa Sthalaka, she's good.
There you go. Tim Lane, Simon Kadich, Greg Blewett, Brad Hodge.
Because you can't be getting rid of
thin.
Slats. You
It's a bit
can't be
thin.
getting rid of Slats.
It's a bit
there,
thin on the
dude.
ground.
That's thin.
It's a bit thin on the ground.
Slats is good. He's a bit of a dribbler. I mean, he's a bit of a fucking how you going, but like Slats is good. He brings something to it.
He brings something.
He's better than fucking.
Yeah.
He's got more personality than those people. And cricket commentators, cricket people in general can be dry as an old Jats Bicky.
Sometimes dry is good.
You like dry if it's fucking substance dry, substantive dryness.
Yeah, exactly. Not just dry because you're shit.
Because you're shit.
Yeah,
exactly.
there's a difference, big difference.
Cricket is dry, but it's substantively dry, if that makes sense. I don't even know if I'm saying the word right.
Who cares? It's in the ballpark.
It's there. I'm kind of right.
there or thereabouts.
It's there or thereabouts. You know what I'm saying?
I know. Okay, so I may have been wrong about the Slats thing. I may have been like that's outrageous.
They don't have fucking enough. I don't know who their plans are.
But when you go through the list, your eyes are illuminated to the fact that they don't have a whole lot of fucking credibility sitting on the fucking.
Like, I mean, that Kadich credibility, Hodge, you've got some credibility.
like-
You don't have much credibility mixed in with charisma. Because if you're a commentator, you need credibility, you need charisma. Now, there ain't charisma on there. Simon Kadich, no disrespect, not a lot of charisma.
But I'm saying like a big name. Like Ricky Ponting's a big name. Slater is a big name.
Slater is also he's from the halcyon days of the Channel 9
Well,
cricket
that's what
commentary.
and you need a bit of halcyon.
Yes.
You do need a bit of halcyon. Like Kadich was sort of the back end.
He wasn't Channel 9 fucking cricket commentary though, you know?
No,
like,
but he hasn't done it. He hasn't done a fucking internship or a tutelage.
no, under the great
under
Channel
the
9
great,
cricket commentary team.
under the big three.
Yes, exactly.
Two of which are
No longer
sadly
with us.
gone. But it's an interesting decision. It's a fucking bold one. I wonder who they're going to replace him with. Again, like, I don't know if we've talked about this enough. Ricky Ponting is fucking excellent.
Yes, he's
I'd
excellent.
go as far as saying that he's the best now.
Yep. I'd go. It's him, and there was another one that I was fucking loving at one point, but Ricky's certainly the best, if not fucking equal first.
Obviously, the Fox commentary on the whole is better.
Yes, it's funny though that someone, and I hope they need to fucking put they need to rein in Warney a little bit, because Warney's fantastic, but because he's so good, because he's hacked the system, he's given free rein to just be too much. And I'm like, Warney, I need you to be able to.
Well, he doesn't have a Bill Lowry or a fucking Tony Gregg.
Just go,
sort of
shut the
just
fuck
going,
up,
just
Warney.
like a little smack.
Yeah, he's the top of the tree now. Whereas before at Channel 9, he was able to get he had a choker chain on him and they'd just pull the leash a little bit. He probably enjoyed it because that's Warney, but like, you know, he was able to keep him in line. Punter doesn't have the showiness about him, but he's got the charisma and he's got the
inside.
but he's got the credentials to be able to say whatever the fuck he wants.
Oh, you mean the second best batsman we've ever produced?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that fucking holds up.
And he's got a good voice. He looks good. He's obviously got his hair thickened.
Which is fine.
Well, of course he is. He's probably
Well, he's on TV now.
he's on pilot. But I just don't think you can afford Slats to go for Channel 7, in my opinion.
Budgetary constraints. He would have been on a big wicket.
I don't think it'd be as big as you think.
You don't reckon?
Does it say what
He
what he was
demanded
on?
a bit of money. They're losing money hand over fist, 7 apparently, on the cricket.
Yeah, it doesn't say what he was on, but he did say Slats has come out and said since he's been sacked, he goes, it says here in the Daily Mail article, it says he added in hindsight he would have handled things differently, saying he was completely overwhelmed and he did not mean to be disrespectful. He said, if I had my time again, bearing in mind it could have had a link to what's just happened to me at Channel 7, no, I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So, okay, he spelled it out
He
in no uncertain
definitely
terms.
knows.
And then he comes out and says, so they asked him if he would be apologising to Scott Morrison. He just answered and said, all I'll say is that I'll be voting for ScoMo at the next election. I admire what he does. But no apology.
Interesting.
That's
That's
weird.
cryptic.
That's a weird fucking response.
That's a...
That's also like...
Look, I think for those playing along at home, it's a lesson. Don't let your emotions get the better of you. You know what I mean?
Take a breath.
Take a
down.
breather.
If you've had
Turn your phone off.
But if you've got a
and
gut
have
full of
breather.
Club Sambos,
Yeah.
if you've got a gut full of Club Sambos and pina coladas in a
Put your phone away.
Maldivian hotel,
Put your phone away.
put the phone down and stop complaining about the fact you can't get home, because some people actually have some real fucking problems.
Yeah, you don't have real problems, bro, because you're onto your fucking 7th pina colada and you've already had 3 fucking club sandwiches. It's not even 12:30. Okay, get some real fucking problems.
You and Dave Warner are beating the fuck out of each other in the hotel pool.
Like, get some problems, bro.
Get some real problems, dude. People have some real issues. People's businesses are falling apart.
Yeah, when he was fucking writing those tweets, trying to be a mad cunt, I don't think he thought he was going to get sacked.
No. He thought he was
Probably
being
would
a
have
hero.
wooed up a bit
Yeah.
had he known.
But it's funny because everyone at the time was like, fuck ScoMo. And I mean, still, I think a lot of people still feel that way. I hope they do anyway. But you know what it's like? You know, it's like if your mate and his missus break up and you're like, fuck her, bro. Like, you know, you don't need it. And they get back together and you're like, ugh. The mood's changed since the last time we had a conversation.
Yeah.
Where, so, like, you know, everyone's like, fuck ScoMo. So he's
Yeah.
like, fuck you, ScoMo. Let's debate. And then now everyone's chilled out from that time period.
It's better to just keep your mouth shut.
Don't say anything.
And it relates to both instances.
Yeah.
When your mate breaks up with a missus, just
Say
keep
nothing.
Say fucking nothing.
Say,
mate.
go, oh, I hope you're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she fucking did this, that. Oh, dude, that sucks.
'Cause
I've done that before, where I've fucking bagged a mate's missus and they've been back together and it's like, great.
Whoops. And they don't forget what you said.
Of course they don't.
Um,
Of course they don't. You're just trying to be a supportive friend, and then they basically throw that support.
so what do you
back
reckon
in
for
your face.
Slats? Does he head over to the ABC? Does he go to Triple M?
Mate, he'll fucking call. I would.
Do you reckon Triple M?
Triple M doing the cricket this summer.
They are
I would
doing-
be very surprised if Slats doesn't find his way on there. And I mean, Fox could do worse than bringing him in, but Fox have a fuck.
I think they're pretty stacked
They
already.
are stacked.
I think Triple M, if I had to pick.
Yeah. I think that's probably a good call, Eddie. He'll certainly pick up a gig somewhere. Like, I mean, they'd be crazy not to have him on. But who knows? Maybe there's no longer an appetite for Slats. I'd find that crazy. I think he's as good as anyone else. And